What has trust got to do with conversations and communications and even coaching? Well, everything. Without trust, there is no communication. Without trust, there's no conversation. The power of coaching conversations lie in the ability for you to establish trust with your clients. Well, in this video, we're going to explore core competency number 4 on trust and safety. Well, welcome to Coaching Changes Lives. My name is Jedi. I'm so glad you can join us this week. Do remember to hit the subscribe button because every single week we come to you with fresh video content to inspire change. And we hope that these videos will truly make a difference in your lives. Whether you're a coach, a speaker, maybe you are a person who chanced upon coaching and perhaps you're looking for a coach to coach you. I have many clients who come to me through our YouTube videos as well. So I look forward to hearing from you. Write to me at coach at coachingchangeslives.com. Or if you want to find out more about our upcoming programs in mastering coaching, in team leadership performance coaching, or even in our NLP programs as well, do check us out on Facebook, on Eventbrite, and even on our YouTube channel. I leave the links down below in the description box, and do stay in contact with us as well. Okay, so now in this week, we're going to explore one of the very, very important, to me it's really important, it's what we call trust. Because without trust, no matter how great your techniques are, no matter how great your conversations are, you're going nowhere. The sense of establishing trust and having conversational intimacy and as well as safety is so important for the client. Imagine this, if you enter a conversation with someone and you're not sure whether you can trust that person or not, will you open up with them? And if you enter a conversation with someone, you're not sure whether it's a safe environment for you, do you think you will open up fully and engage with a conversation with that person or not? Very unlikely as well. So having this trust and safety it really matters as well. Now, what on earth is trust? What on earth is safety? And why do these two things mean so much in the coaching conversation? Now, one of the key secrets is this: understanding that in the whole process of coaching, it's not just about the words, it's not just about the conversations, it's not just about that. It's about having that relationship with the client. And you often hear me say this: the deeper the level of trust, the deeper the level of conversations. Now, why is that so important? Because oftentimes coaches tell me, why can't I go deep diving? Why can't I dive deeper with my clients? Well, the truth is this: because you have not established trust, because the trust is not there. If trust is inherently not there, no matter what you try to do, the client is not going to have a safe environment with you. So let's take a look at what does trust and safety means. Now it says here, partners with client to create a safe, supportive environment that allows for the client to freely share and maintains a relationship of mutual respect and trust. Maintains a relationship of mutual respect and trust. So it's an ongoing process. Trust is not established at the front. It's established throughout the whole process. When the client first meets you, there's a certain sense of pseudo-trust because they trust your profession, they trust your title. Maybe you're an ACC, maybe you're PCC, maybe you're an MCC, maybe you're a certified coach, right? They trust the title. But as they get into the coaching conversation with you, that's when the trust really develops and nourishes and really transforms. And that is so important. Now, what on earth is that? What do we mean by that? Well, one of the things in the whole process of coaching, it's about bringing the client farther than ever before, and also respecting the client's map of the world. So let's take a look at some points of how do we actually establish this trust and safety in the clients. Now, point number 1 says this: seeks to understand the client within their context, which may include their identity, environment, experiences, values, and beliefs. Demonstrates respect for the client's identity, perceptions, style, and language, and adapts one's coaching to the client. So really interestingly here, let me break this down for all of us. Right, the first point is this: seeks to understand the client within the context, which may include the identity, environment, experience, values, and beliefs. So when we explore the client, this is the client's map of the world, and we honor the client's map of the world. We want to explore with them one step at a time. We want to honor the map of the world, the way they think about things, and the way they believe about things, the way they've shaped the environment as well. So that's going to be important. The values that they hold, and the beliefs that they have actually shapes their ideas and mindset. Now, the next thing is about demonstrating some respect for the client's identity, perception, style, language, and adapts one's coaching to the client. So what do we mean by adapting one's coaching to the client? Well, when we say adapting to one's coaching to the client, it means this. that we don't use one fixed model or one fixed process, because the client may come to you with different issues, with different contexts, with different styles. So as a coach, we want to be flexible. What I always say is flexibility is key in the whole conversational process. Because if you're more flexible, you can address the client's own learning styles. Some clients learn best by having visualization. Some clients learn best by having conversation. Some clients learn best by sharing metaphors. So whichever styles the client learns best, that's when, as a coach, we begin to adapt to the client's learning styles. Now, next, it's also acknowledge and respects the client's unique talents, insights, and work in the coaching process. Show support, empathy, concern for client, acknowledges and supports the client's expressions of feelings, perceptions, concerns, beliefs, and suggestions. So, in the whole coaching process, it's also about acknowledging the client's progress. When the client is progressing, when the client's getting more clarity, when the client's getting more aligned, when the client gets, a certain step, a sense of progression, as a coach, we can comment to the client. We can say, hey, I noticed that at the start of this conversation today, you were kind of hesitant, but right now I can sense that confidence is really exuding, and what a great work you've made so far, what a great progress you've made so far. So supporting the client in that self-expression. Now, many times in the Asian context, we are very, very slow to actually commend someone. We are slow to give our recognition. But what we want to do is to acknowledge the client. And the way we acknowledge is by speaking out what we observe. So maybe at the start of the conversation, you notice the client was a bit more hunch, maybe the energy was a bit more lower. But now, as the conversation proceeds, you say, hey, Mr. Client, is it okay if I point to you? I point out something to you. I noticed that as the conversation, as you were mentioning that point earlier, and the clarity they've sought for, I could see that you were more relaxed now, and you had a heightened sense of energy. And I'm really encouraged because as you were sharing that, it really touched my heart to see, the journey you've been through and your never say die attitude. Now, when you acknowledge a client like that, that's respecting the client's will, and that's also supporting the client, because now the client feels empowered, now the client feels supported, because now the client knows that the coach is there for them, the coach is there with them in this whole journey. They're not by themselves, but they're there with the coach. Now, the next thing I want to share with us is this: demonstrates openness and transparency as a way to display vulnerability and build trust with the client. How do you demonstrate openness and transparency? Well, we can show our little the parts of us that might be a vulnerable part. For example, Mr. Klein, and what you shared just now was so true, because I experienced that myself as well. In fact, sometimes I faced the same challenge before. And by what I'm hearing from you, it really encouraged my heart, because I know that whatever challenge I face, I can also use that as well. Now, we are also cautious about how we share and what we share in this openness and transparency. For example, if you are facing certain challenges that is similar to the clients and you've not yet overcome them, you can say, hey, Mr. Client, you know what? Like yourself, I'm also struggling with a sense of, always demanding perfection for myself. But you know what? I'm taking one step at a time. And I'm so encouraged to hear you today as you share this, because that really resonated with my heart, that how you have taken this journey forward and you're taking one step at a time. So you are open, transparent with what you're feeling with yourself, because you're not a perfect being as well. But yet you don't dwell in your story too much. You help the client to reconnect back with their story, helping the client know that there are people who also face the same thing, helping the client know that also the coach as well understands what they're facing as well. Now, sometimes coaches take this to the extreme by sharing their stories, and you know what? They take so much time telling the stories, because remember, it's not about us. In our openness and transparency with the client, we want to share a little bit, but not to share every single thing. We can share our scars, but there are areas in our lives maybe perhaps you're still struggling with, and maybe perhaps it's not the right time to share. We don't have to share those things. It's okay to share our scars, but when you want to share your wounds, you need to consider the context of the conversation as well. Now, sometimes as coaches as well, if we come across, Mr. Klein, you can do it. I've overcome that before. You can overcome that as well. Now, often this kind of language actually doesn't really support the client. In fact, it puts down the client. Why? Because that kind of languages, it feels almost as if I've done it, so can you. But you do not know me. I know you. You can do it because you're a coach, but I'm me. Nobody understands what I'm going through. So notice this: when we establish trust and safety, it's a very delicate thing. It's about sensing, sense making. It's about identifying, helping the clients to recognize that You are there with them, helping the clients to know and acknowledge that you're there supporting them. When we create a safe space for the client, it's also about giving silence, pause. It's also about giving that sense of acknowledgement. Also, recognizing your facial expression. Now, sometimes when the client shares a sad thing, you want to be mindful that you're not smiling. You keep it neutral. When the client's facing some emotion, also neutrality of face. Giving that pause, allowing time for the client to ruminate, allowing time for the client to reflect, allowing time for the client to consider things that you've mentioned. Then, getting the client's inputs about what they're feeling as well. Mr. Client, as you were just expressing yourself, I noticed a little change over there. I could see a little glimmer of hope, a little lightness in your speech, and I can see the little smile in your eyes as well. Acknowledging the client, expressing it, right, and speaking for what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and giving those moments space. Remember, spaciousness is key. Not just so I've seen coaches asking questions after questions after questions, and the clients get so tired. Coaching is not about a barrage of questions. Coaching is about the pace. It's about the flow, keeping that flow in sequence. In mastering coaching, one of our most exciting classes, a lot of coaches have been demanding for that. Now I want you to join one of our mastering coaching classes as well. That's when we bring coaches through this whole journey, teaching them about the pause, the selah moment, the moment for the client to ruminate. In fact, I have a video about the power of rumination as well. Allowing the client time to ruminate, think about this, pause, reflect, consider. When they do that, something beautiful happens. The pause gives them space to think about the thoughts that just happened. The pause also gives them space to be creative, to think about new ideas and new points and vantage views that perhaps they have missed out. And that's so important in the coaching process. So there you have the different 6 points of cultivating trust and safety. Let me know in the comment section below, what are some of your thoughts? How would you establish trust and safety? In our PCC level class, we go deeper in this. In fact, in our neuro-linguistics programming class as well, we teach coaches how to establish rapport through the power of linguistic mirroring as well. Really, really exciting stuff. So I hope to see you in one of our classes, because that's when we have time to really go deeper, and I can help you with your skill sets as well, to help you point out areas where you can grow in, areas where you can develop deeper. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends, and I'll see you in our upcoming video.